of Execration, we definitely do have a certain sense of uncertainty in their lineup. It's gonna be relatively tough for us to even, well, put a finger on if Execution draft is gonna work out or not, but we gotta have to see. While RSG MY's lineup does seem to look pretty darn scary, with damage all across the board, reskilling all across the board, will Execution's draft, as well as Promise, be able to overcome this game and finish this series in a 2-0? Ladies and gentlemen, let us go right into a potentially last game here in MSC 2021, day number 5.
Well, it's going to be do or die here for both of the teams as Execration and just one game away from bringing RSG MY back home.
No. You gotta redo that. That felt very lackluster.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you a second chance.
Oh!
Alright, here we go! That is the way! That is the way! And it is going to be the second game between RSG MY from Malaysia against Execution from the Philippines. RSG MY down to the very potential last game for themselves. They need to win this to stay alive in MSC 2021. And pretty sure Malaysian fans, they will be hanging to the edge of their seats because they don't want to see their last home go home just yet.
Yeah, man. It is going to be Yami playing onto the far side, onto the mid lane with E2 Max onto the Eve. And meanwhile, on the top lane itself, Kaiser bringing annoyance, just going to deter LVJ from being able to farm with that glue. I mean, Kaiser, kudos to him, he really made an impact in the first game itself with the Uranus. And this time around, it's going to be a Faramis off-lane Faramis onto Renzo.
Yeah, Execution pulling out the Faramis on side lanes against this glue. I would say that the Faramis would do a lot better against the glue than the other way around, right? Faramis, a bit of a range hero. He's super good when he pulls out that altar, and level 4, that's when Execution can mix the team fight without having the fear of going down just yet. And meanwhile, bottom lane, it is going to be leaning once again in the jungle. Kiara, there's no invade coming up from RSG MY, so I'm pretty sure that, you know, this link is going to come online way earlier, and KLJ is going to enjoy this game way more in game 1.
Yeah, and speaking of which, you know, KLJ, he actually tried to go in for the first part on the second, but he just was caught immediately, and meanwhile in the mid lane itself, a fight is going to go in as Lexia is going to be the first one on the chopping block, a first blood going on to Execration.
Yeah, and they also pop out the altar. They pick up the kill through the real world manipulation, and that is a huge win for Execution. Meanwhile, bot lane Nolios will go down as well. Execution winning every single fight that they have so far in the mid lane. Izanami gave it a little bit of a thought. He wanted to go in for the kill, but here comes Chakdu shooing away that bird. Don't come and disturb my mate. Let her go back to base peacefully.
LVJ attempting to steal the red buff away from Grandeur. I bet he's going to be like, you know, the previous game he gave me a hard run for money, this time around not so easy. And speaking of which, the Turtle is going to be spawned onto the top lane, and immediately Chakno onto the Kufa. He's charging, he's looking for potential. He managed to go onto the Fasa, but a really good reaction coming from Izayami, just managed to juke away from him.
Yeah, I think this Faramis pick is so good because it allows them to just fight inside the Feathered Ash, right? When they go down, he's just going to pop the Cult Altar down, and the Execution members can just rise from the dead if they die down there. And now speaking about rising from the dead, Izanami doesn't have that skill. He will have to use Wings by Wings to get out of trouble. And then we see the rest of RG and why they wanted to stop the turtle there. Here comes the rest of Execution. Renzo coming in from the back, uses the Shadow Stampede to join into the fight. Meanwhile, Lulu's caught from the bottom lane as well. This is a potential 5v5, but RSGMY is like, you know what, we don't really want to contest this. Renzo has his ultimate as well. Let's just back off. And now, with Renzo not dying, he's just going to get more and more stacks onto his passive, which means it's going to help him come back to base a lot earlier. That Victorious Vicious Retrieval will just allow him to come back to the battlefield every single time he dies. I believe it's a 5 to 7% reduction in terms of the death counter.
speaking of which, right, 4-man RSGM were going strong onto the bottom lane itself, but they did not manage to catch onto Harith, who is so aware of the map that he's just hiding in the bushes. And this has allowed Kelvin J and his team to be brought onto the top lane, and it's practically a free turtle at this point to the side of Execration.
Yeah, here comes the real world manipulation. Zekka's in a lot of trouble, getting caught out once again. One more hit from Kiara will pick up the kill. And like I said, Execration really loving this game. You can see how comfortable they are now. They even steal the blue buff away from Lexia. And Calvjade running to town on this link as compared to game 1, where he was the one put under a lot of pressure.
Yep, and speaking of which, the Faramis is really making a difference in the top lane itself. And in fact, he's deterring Kaiser from being able to rotate as much as the first game. This Faramis pick is really
RSGMY now onto the back foot. Can they actually hold this game? Like I said, they don't generally do well when they are on the back foot, but they still have a scary drop. They still look pretty decent. They're still looking for the first team fight. The feather airstrike comes in. Renzo immediately pops the card altar. He's going to look to bite back. The first task on him will be try to bring down the turret, or rather bring down the crit. Meanwhile, mid lane, Tempest of Lake will come up. Zekkas might just fall to crit. Manipulation will allow him to take him out, and Execution now pop out the real world manipulation as well. Oh, into the Tyrant's Revenge, and with the bouncing ball, Lilios has nowhere to run. They pick up the kill in the middle lane, and look at how quickly Faramis is back onto the base. It's like he never even left.
Yep, and that's 4-0-0 to Cal VJ onto that lane. It's a killing spree, and meanwhile in the bottom lane itself, Kara managed to break open the first tower onto the bottom lane, and this potentially, you know, has opened up the map for Execration. And in terms of the gold lead itself, Execration is currently leading at around 3,000 gold lead. It's practically playing dominance game against RSGMY. The wild charge coming in for Kubra, but no follow.
Yeah, no need to dive while you are in front. We've been seeing the real world manipulation pop up now time and time again to win those pickoffs. It's so important for them, and with the Crew Frost presence, Lilios can't just dive in because he needs to know, he knows, or rather, that if he dives into the bad spot, it's talking about bringing the bad spot. Changdu taking a lot of damage in the early game. The Death Sonata comes through. The last two will miss that shot. Meanwhile, the rest of the team jumping onto Kaiser right now, who pops the split. And will he go down here? He does have the call altar, but they not going to use it right there. They want to go for the back line. Top lane though, we do see Changdu managing to escape the grips of the blue. He might just eventually go down. Look at that. He's just trying to buy so much time as the rest of Execution work onto the turtle. The Void Crystal is too far. They can't save Chengdu, but he is only a crew fight. It's going to be up in 10 seconds. Meanwhile, the rest of Execution already moving onto the mid lane. RSGMY converging onto the middle of the map as well. Here comes the feather airstrike. It's not really going to land as much. The rest of RSG, they want to pounce onto E2 Max, but he will use the flicker to get into a better position. Meanwhile, Renzo coming in. Will he use the Shadow Sand bit? They do have the cult altar. He's just holding on to it for now. And RSGMY just bouncing back at such a good pace.
Yep, overall the fight goes to RSGMY as they manage to crack open the mid lane itself. And in fact, for the side of Lexia, he's starting, you know, to snowball back into the game as he managed to steal off buff away from lane. I think that overall it's really a good effort for RSGMY, just continuously just fighting back in terms of the pacing.
Yeah, RSGMY now looking a lot stronger. Remember, it was 4k difference. They managed to cut it down to 1. But Execution looking very strong still in terms of team fight. We've yet to see a 5-on-5 full-on brawl from either of these teams. It's been a lot of pickoffs. They are only pickoffs now. Lexia now fighting Kiara in a very bad spot. They don't have the killing needed for him. But Kiara buys so much time. Lexia with first go down. The real world manipulation followed with the Void Crystal will slow Lexia down, as well as Zekkas. They pick up 2. And I fear that Kaiser will fall very shortly as well. He doesn't have split available, and Calvj will just pounce to him using the Cloud Walker. And that is going to be a 3-0 for Execution.
Yeah, Izayami left standing alone in the mid lane itself. In fact, he actually used the feather airstrike, but he's been stopped by Kufra.
RSGMY taking a little bit of time. And I have a feeling they just want to buy more time, right? Because they need more farm on this grandeur, while at the same time you do get quite a bit of a feeling that Execution doesn't want to allow this to drag on. The heroes are pretty much online, right? Harif has quite a bit of farm at this point in time. They can just take turns carrying. You have the Link. You have a bit of a late game insurance in Kelra.
Yep. And as we stated, as it is in the mid lane itself, the bouncing ball goes in, proving to be an annoyance to RSG MY as Kara goes in for Kaiser F. Meanwhile, Alice coming into the back lane itself managed to catch onto Chakra, and it's going to be Ease popping onto the ultimate, but the Winter Truncheon coming in, it does not manage to connect. Kavide comes into the backline to sweep up the fight itself, and Kaiser, he's going to be a paid price as it's a double kill onto Kara.
Yeah, that Calamity Reaper just does so much damage, and he's only going to ramp up from here once he picks up the Holy Crystal. Now, meanwhile, Execration pushing onto the top side with Renzo, trying to push down onto mid, and they will secure the tier 2 at the top side. If you get sent, that fight will happen. Defended Airstrike Calva, first one to get shut down in an instant, while the rest of Execution couldn't really do much, but watch as the Harif gets bursted down into pieces.
Well, that was really a good camping coming in from Izayami with the bad airstrike just catching onto Execration, and that I think has allowed RGMY to scale. And you look at the goal itself, RGMY is not far ahead, and in fact as Loli scales up onto the Alice, he already has his book as well as the Clock of Destiny and Winter Truncheon. Slowly but surely this Alice is going to start coming online, and speaking of that, Chakra is finding any of the members of RSGMY with the bouncing ball, does not manage to connect, and the first Lord is going to get spawned in the next 14 seconds.
RSGMY now trying to find a pickoff. A bird 2 flickers on the side of Execution, couldn't really get anyone there, and now Kaiser is in a big trouble. The bouncing ball will come up, the slow from the Void Crystal was too much. Renzo now walking into the jungle of the blue buff. They're not going to find it, but they don't care, they're just going to go straight for the low, while Renzo and Kelv J will be left to clear up the mid lane. They managed to find it, oh, but they don't catch anyone at all. They even expended the feathered airstrike, and that is such a huge miss for RGMY. They still want to contest for Zekas right at the front. The real world manipulation will come up. The Void Crystal might be too much to handle. Kara would slowly pick the members of RGMY one by one. The Winter Truncheon is only going to keep the allies on for so long. The bouncing ball is there, and now Izanami will be forced to try to pick anything at all, but Execution is not giving anything over to the side RGMY with 4 members out of commission. Is this the GG push?
Well, a good effort coming from Izayami, but that is not enough damage coming in from the far side to be able to stop Execration. Execration, they are tired of this game. They want to end it. They are like, let's end it. Kira coming in. Can they crack open the mid lane?
Yeah, they pretty much will do. The Lords coming up on the top side as well. RGMY try to hang on, but members of Execration alive but low in HP, and they will have to back off from here. They will only have to be able to be contented with a tier 3 down in the middle lane. Not too bad, you know, considering the fact that RGMY, the rest of RGMY members will be coming up. The super minions will pick up the tier 2 down the bot lane, and look at the goal lead. Both Link as well as Harif. Now Harif about to hit the 10k mark, but look at that, the buff will get contested. They don't even care, they jump for the backline. Nexus the first one to go down. The Con also gets popped up as well. Zekas follows suit, and the real world manipulation along with the slow will not allow the Popo and Koopa to run anywhere, and now looks like it's going to be a chase. Look how scary it is for Izanami. Uses the wings by wings to get off the map, but with 4 members still remaining on the side of Execution, they want to go for the push. Super minions now coming down onto the mid lane. That is the benefit of taking away the tier 3 this early. And now they look for it. Changdu jumping on the back line. He's going to use the ultimate, doesn't even have to do so. And with the creeps down, can Execution end the game? No, they can't. Kaiser will be able to clear the creeps just in time, but here comes another wave. The Void Crystal as well, the Cloud Altar, and they want to end the game right here now. The creeps still standing. They managed to clear it out, but the Cloud Altar is just coming back time and time again. They use the manipulation. They try to slow him down. They managed to take one. It might be the second one as well. Zekas doesn't die, and they do manage to take out the Krufra. RSG MY hanging on to their life, and I feel that that was a bit of a mistake from Execration. They could have taken the tier 3 at the top, but the eyes were on the prize and they couldn't end the game in time.
They were so greedy to end the game, but there were no minions pushing in onto the mid lane itself. But if you look at it, it is 7 to 20. And Execration, even though they got punished for the over-aggression, they were still leading.
Yeah, I mean, it all comes down to the good early to mid game. I would say mid game because RSG MY to a certain extent was doing pretty decently early game at holding on to Execution, but you just need time, right? Time is of the essence for Lolios on this Alice. As long as they give Lolios the blue buff, but thinking about Alice, the bouncing ball doesn't allow her to use the flowing blood, but she burns the flicker away. Thank God they reworked that, because in the old bouncing ball mechanics, you couldn't even flicker away from Krufa's second skill. But now Execration looking to push the bot lane. They do have the Cloud Altar. Do they go for another desperate push? Ling is now pushing onto the top side. Lolios getting shredded down. The Wither Truncher will buy more time, but the Synchrovision is timed really well. They pick up a second kill. Real world manipulation now coming onto the side, and here comes the Tempest of Blade. The Ling jumps right onto the backline. He picks up the Popo and Koopa as well as Lexia playing on this grandeur, and with that it's going to be tier 3 at the bottom. It's a 5-3-2. Unfortunately, I feel like this time around they do have the enough firepower to end it, but here comes Kaiser just staying defiant, saying no to losing. They're trying to hang on to their life. The Ling will join into the fight as well. It's down to one last hit, and with the Crips pushing in, Execration will get the 2-0 and they send RSGMY home.
Well, this is the match that we are talking about, and Execration has shown the stamina, the determination, and we are here once again 2-0 onto the side of our Philippines team. And look at them, they're so happy with their flag just rising high.
And why not? They are the pride of Philippines alongside Black Race International, and now we potentially could be looking at a all Philippines Grand Finals, but there is still one team in their way.